What is up, guys? I'm your co-host Handikillcam, along with my other co-host.
Big MCC.
Today is episode 173 of the OG podcast. Hey, what do you know? We've made it 2 weeks in a
Wrong.
row. Yes, we made it 2 weeks in a row. We're we're doing things.
It's a
So
thing where people are placing their bets to see if we're doing a show or not.
yeah, exactly. Like they're probably like, yeah, he's probably not doing a show today. Yeah, ha ha. The joke's on you. Um, so what's up, man? How you been?
I'm doing really well. Same old stuff for the most part. Still I'm working, still on my gaming grind between, Last Cloud and Shadowverse. I haven't really been playing my Switch much lately, mainly because I've been kind of getting back more into watching some movies with a lady and watching some anime because I'm kind of behind on that too. So I've been kind of giving the Switch a little bit of a break. I still play Mario Kart 8 on the weekends, but with the lady. But outside of that, I'm not really doing anything with the Switch on my own as of yet.
Uh-huh.
Um, but that's going to be changing eventually. But sometimes you just need to disconnect and take a break for a while.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of which, I've kind of taken a break from New World. There's a lot of issues going on um, with with world transfers and people trying to hack to get gold, and then there's lag using certain weapons now. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to step away for a little bit. Maybe they'll fix some things, and if not, it's okay. I've just been playing other games, and just chilling. Uh, got back into playing Apex over the weekend, and then Logitech finally released the tournament videos of my of the tournaments I was placed in for Rocket League. So that
Yep,
was pretty dope. It was cool just to hear my name being like
broadcasted.
yeah, broadcasted and them like analyzing my game. That's probably a moment like I'll never forget. Even though like I didn't like win a lot of money and I didn't win first place, that is something that like that will always stick for me with me for like the rest of my life. Like that is definitely like a bucket list thing that I didn't even know that it was a bucket list, like meaning I didn't even think it was possible because of like how old I am and stuff. Not a lot of people start their esports career at like 37 years old. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that is just like to me it's like pretty freaking sick, and the fact that it's like out there and people hear it and can watch it and it's like on the Logitech channel itself. That's just pretty freaking awesome. So that was pretty much my highlight of the weekend. Like that had like me on a high, like no other. Like I said, it didn't matter to me that if I won or lost. It's just the fact that wow, like this is real. Like Handikillcam is what is it called? Validated now. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
pretty freaking sick. Pretty freaking sick.
That's
I,
kind of something that I wanted when I was a kid. I wanted to be a competitive gamer, where I had a bunch of people in suits talking about my stats and all that kind of stuff. Like that was kind of the dream for me for a while. So the fact that you got there, I'm really proud of you. So good job, man.
yeah, man. Hey, and you never know, bro. I mean, I did it at 37. You just never know if you have the opportunity to do it. I mean, if the opportunity ever comes awry, you should do it. You know what I mean? Because I thought, like I said, I thought my time was done doing all that stuff, and then it just came, just literally fell in my lap. So that's pretty freaking sick, So
Oh yeah.
that was really. I've watched it probably about 7 times by now,
Oh
and
wow.
just because it's just something really cool, and it's
It's
not,
pretty cool.
yeah, it's not something that it's gonna happen all the time. So and then
Hmm.
and then they released the other tournaments too. So yeah, so all four tournaments in the series were released. So, but that one was the only one I did good on. All the other ones we got mollywopped. Spoiler alert, spoil alert. But it's all good. Yeah, next season we're coming with the vengeance. But
There
so
you go.
yeah, and they might be doing a Warzone tournament too, or an Apex tournament too. So I'm definitely gonna be doing that because I was telling them I was like, well, first person shooters are my bread and butter. So uh, yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's been pretty much my week. Pretty much been been my week and how my week's been going. But other than that, oh, and I've been making music. I've made a few more beats and stuff like that. And so yeah, it's just been cool, been pretty cool. I got offered to do my 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 Rocket League partner is he's a professional skateboarder for Adaptive Esports, and he's making a documentary of the tournament he won, and he wants my beats to be featured in his documentary, which is pretty
Man,
freaking dope.
that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty dope. So yeah, that's pretty sick
That's
too.
Void Pro, right?
Huh? Yeah,
Void
Void.
Pro, right?
Yeah, Void Pro. Yeah, he's an actual professional skateboarder, for Adaptive Esports, and
Cool.
he actually just won a tournament here in Dallas. Or I say here in Dallas like I'm in Texas, but I'm no longer in Texas. Sorry to have it, but he just won a tournament in Dallas, and first place, and they documented they documented it and like recorded it and stuff. And he was like, "Yo, I'd be honored if you would put your beats in my documentary." I was like, "Well, that's dope." I was like, "Well, I gotta make a fresh batch because I want it to be stuff like nobody's heard." He's like, "Dope." So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna try
I
and
feel like that's when you're really in the zone, like when you're really you doing what you enjoy the most when you're making beats and stuff. Like you're just having a good time the whole time, and every time you come up with something different, you get excited, and you're making changes and edits, and you're like, "Yep, this is it." And it all comes together. It's like a bunch of puzzle pieces that
yeah,
comes together.
yeah, like there's something that I feel in my body when I'm making beats that like I don't feel. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's Zen, the Holy Spirit or what it is, but it's just something when something clicks, I'm like, "Oh my God." Like it's something that like it can't be taken away from me, and that's pretty sick. Like what I mean is like once I create it, it's there. You know what I mean? And can't
Mhm.
nobody say, "Oh, you did it by hacking." You know what I mean? Or stuff like that, which is pretty dope. Like it's a skill that I have that like not everybody can do. You know, so it's pretty
Right.
dope. And I've been trying to push that with like other streamers. Like I'm like, you need to find something that you can do that like not a lot of other people can do. Not necessarily the stream. I choose to stream it, but to me, it's good for your mental health. Um, that's I've been going through a lot since the move mentally, and I'll be honest, the two things that have been helping me is God and making music, like legit. And it's been keeping me like on a level head, where I'm not like uh crazy, and it's the thing that I look forward to. In fact, I was like, because I didn't think my wife was working today. That's why I messaged you at 1 o'clock this morning because we were watching
Mhm.
TV, and I was like, and we were binge watching a show, and I was like, oh crap, revenge watching a show. Um, I might not make it tomorrow morning. You know what I mean? Meaning I might not
Mhm.
wake up early enough.
Yeah.
So I was messaging you, and then my wife was like, "No, I'm not off tomorrow. I work until 8." So like, I was like, "Oh," and I was normally I'd be upset or whatever, not like upset like mad, but like, "Oh dang," I was like looking forward to hanging out or whatever, right? But I was like, "Man, you know what that means? I get to make beats all day until 8 o'clock." So I'm freaking excited. So
There you
like
go.
yeah, so and then I'm gonna be purchasing this new drum kit after the podcast, which is pretty dope. That like uh one of the top producers make in the YouTube space. I won't say like in the mainstream space, but I'll say in the YouTube space. And so yeah, I'm gonna be using that to be making some beats, and I'm pretty excited, pretty excited. Yeah, yeah. So that's my gonna be my Saturday morning. I may stream it. I don't know yet, Chad. I haven't decided. I haven't decided yet. So, but yeah.
Cool. Well, the first thing I'm going to go ahead and bring up today is it's actually something that I had for last week and I forgot to bring it up. That's mainly because we had a lot of more interesting things to bring up last week, so that's why I didn't need to stick it in. But I'll go ahead and bring this up now. It's a really interesting interview
Uh-huh.
that Dr. Gamer did at one of their conferences with. I'm not going to try to say the name because it's really hard to pronounce, but basically, he's the producer, product manager of the company Voodoo, who does a lot of like mobile games and other related stuff. And they asked him a series of questions. I'm not going to go over the entire interview, but what was interesting to me was a question that a lot of people have when it comes to getting into video games. And the Parker Gamer asked him, "What advice would you give to anyone looking to get into it, basically into the gaming industry?" And this is what he straight up says, and this is the only part I'm going to read. As appealing as superstar roles such as game designer and game developer are, it's incredibly difficult to land these roles at entry level. Instead of applying for these roles and setting yourself up for disappointment, look out for other roles that can help you get your foot in the door. As soon as you've landed a suitable role with the game company, then you will be able to start climbing the ladder and aim towards your ultimate career. Also, don't always assume that you need expensive and professional training to enter the industry either. I don't have any official training or education, and I'm mostly self taught. The most important thing isn't your degree, it's your ability to deliver what is required. And I
Yeah.
found that really, really interesting because, a lot of people assume that you have to have all of these, special degrees, all these like certificates and crazy equipment. And honestly, this person basically just did some job that maybe wasn't what he wanted, but at least he was still within the industry and eventually worked his way towards it. So I think that's good advice for people who want to try to actually get into the industry. What
Yeah,
are your thoughts?
definitely. I think I not only do I think that's good advice for the gaming industry, but I think that's good gaming advice all around, whatever you're trying to do. Because I mean, you see people with degrees nowadays not getting the jobs that they want nowadays, but people with not degrees are getting the same uh, getting the same jobs that the people want with the degrees, without the degrees. Um, you know, my sister-in-law is one of them. My wife is one of them. Um, a lot of these jobs, a lot of the jobs that my wife worked before even this job right now, had all these um, like requirements and all these you know uh, like like do you have to have this degree, you have to have this degree and this and this and that and that, but because of how she was already known in the industry of how to dispatch and work and do all these things, they like they had her they had her like at the tippity top, you know what I mean? And so like it just shows that like you think that your hard work is not being ignored, but it's not. You just gotta like, you know, my main thing that I would take from this too is about networking. Like you wanna like be getting in good with certain people. You know what I mean? And not selling yourself, but talking, like when the opportunity comes up, let them know what you're able to do. You know what I mean? Don't just knock on their virtual door and be like, yo, I'm here to sell myself to you, I could do these things. No, like, get good with these people, talk with these people, conversate with people on a daily basis. And then when they be like, oh, and then like when the situation comes up and they be like, oh, I got to do this today. Oh, I'm able to do that. I'm also able to do this and this and that. Oh, you are? That's pretty cool. Have you ever thought about applying? Well, yeah, I have, but I'm not really qualified. Oh, it's okay. I got you. And that's really how it goes down. Like relationship and networking in a lot of companies means business and hard work. So don't think just because there's like this wall there that you can't get in. Uh, that's how a lot of ways. Uh, I've gotten with a lot of sponsors myself is I've built relationship with these certain companies and people, and when the time was right and they came to me, I told them, who I am and my story, and they were like, "Yo, that's dope." You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not easy to get in with Logitech. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not easy to get in with like companies like Astro. Especially as somebody at my level, I'm not like super popular. I'm not Nick Merckx. I'm not Tim the Tap Man. I'm not uh, Doctor Disrespect. I'm not these big known streamers. But I'm I was able to get my foot in the door with certain things because of what I was doing in other places. And because of that I was able to build relationships, build and network, and now we're at where I'm at. So it's perfect. Like totally, and that's why I say I think it's the something that people should take away from from life in general. I mean, wouldn't you say? Oh, I think we lost him. Uh,
I'm good. I had a technical issue to deal with, but I'm good now.
are
But yeah,
you?
I completely
Your Discord had an update too? No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
yeah, and honestly, for where I'm at today in my current career, like what I do is something that is, degree recommended, but because of the experience I have and a lot of divine intervention, I'm at where I'm at today.
Exactly. Exactly. So, man, that's freaking sick. And to the person that just has the degree and didn't put in the work, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that person because I know a lot of people get salty in that space because they're like, well, I'm qualified and this person isn't. This person's not. Like you get that a lot, but
Well, there's a difference between going to school and reading a book and actually doing the job, getting experience.
right,
And a lot
exactly.
of times, experience is a lot better than what you're taught in college. And I have a little bit of college under me, and I'll be perfectly honest, that college really helped me not at all with where I'm at
Just put you in
today.
debt at a early age.
It just put me in debt. That's all it did. And I'm not saying that's the same with all college. Like, if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, I mean,
Uh-huh.
obviously highly necessary. But there are a lot of careers out there where if you just, either teach yourself or get certain jobs that are in positions that can sort of get you there, that
Uh-huh.
can give you the experience you need to get the job you ultimately want, which is why I'm where I'm at today.
Yeah, exactly. Like prime example with me too is, um at one point right after high school, go get out, Boots, come on. Um I was supposed to uh I earned a college degree to go be at the Art Institute, right? To learn how to produce music and be an audio engineer. Well, uh, I got like really sick. Um, it was around the time when I blew both my eardrums. I don't know if you remember that. Um, and I had like double ear infections in my ears. I already passed all my exams, right? But because I had too many absent days, they took they took credits from me. Well, they took one credit away from me, and because of that, I wasn't able to graduate at that time. And because I wasn't able to graduate at that time and show proof of my diploma, I lost a scholarship. Well, you would think, oh, well, it's all over with, and da 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 da. But no, I took from the age of, I don't know, 17 all the way to practically now. I taught myself how to record music. I taught myself how to um you know mix and master. Not the greatest, but I'm not the worst. I can get the job done. I taught myself how to make beats. I taught myself how to use autotune. I taught myself all those things that the schools would teach you, and now, like, now you see me now, like, no, I'm no uh, platinum artist or nothing, but that's not the goal I'm trying to be in. Maybe when I was younger, yeah, probably, but not now. Like, now I just want to, like, make music for commercials, make music for TV, make music for other artists, make music for video games, you know, and that's where I'm at now. Like, like, the doors are opening, and it's not because I have all these uh scholarships. It's because of the experience I've had. Because I've literally been making or working with music since the I was little. Like, even you remember the tapes that were recorded with me and you and David Mason, all all off of a karaoke machine. By the way, I still have those tapes. Um, and I
I
just don't
believe
have,
it.
huh?
I believe it.
I actually have it locked away in a safe, along with the first recording program that I had, which is Pro Tools 8, and along with the first beat making software I had, which is Fruity Loops, which I still have today, um, because that license never goes away. And um, yeah, I still have all that.
We discussed even before that, though, because before you did that, and I know it's nothing fancy, but you also played MTV Music Generator,
Yes,
which was another way to learn how to make beats, make music. As a matter of fact, I remember you had it for, I'm not sure if it was PlayStation or whatever, and I had it for PC because I was also making music at the time, too.
yes,
Now, I didn't really do much with it just because that was more your passion than mine, but it was a lot of fun doing it. So it started with something as simple as a game
yes,
that turned into getting, some smaller equipment, smaller software that kind of built up, and that's how it happens sometimes. Like I said, you just get the simplest things, you teach yourself, you kind of get used to how the patterns work.
yep,
And all of a sudden, you get better as years go on with no college needed, no money invested into, having to sit into a classroom or anything, and that's why I'm saying that not everything needs a college degree. There's a lot of jobs out there that, even though they may say college preferred, that's really just a way to kind of see how much you want the job. Because if you have enough experience, you can still get that job, even if it says college preferred, because sometimes experience goes over a degree. Because the problem with someone with a degree is the fact that you still have to train them. Because
yeah,
even though they read books and stuff, they don't have any actual application to do the job. So you're having to spend more time teaching them how to do the stuff, even though they've read the books. Whereas someone who has a lot of experience, you don't really have to train them how to do the job. The only thing you have to train them is just how to use your system, which is
definitely,
a lot easier and takes a lot less time. So
definitely.
yeah, I love that interview. That was really good.
Yeah, definitely. I want to correct myself too, and you brought up a good point about the MTV Music Generator. The MTV Music Generator, those beats that I made off the MTV Music Generator are the reason why I got that scholarship. I took, at the time, before CDs were a thing, I took um well, they were a thing. I just didn't have the CD burner at the time. Now I have it burned on CD, and that was the first CD I ever made. It was called Rex Testimony, and it had beats also made by our good late friend Jason, who's no longer with us. But that's when I learned about sampling too, because that's when I took. Remember, I took voices or passages from a pastor, and I put them in the beat. Well, however, I took all those songs and I put them on tape. I took that tape, and because you had to have some kind of submission to get the scholarship. And I was like, well, the only thing really musically I had at the time was those beats. So I took those beats and I put them on tape and I sent them in. A lot of people, not you guys, but a lot of people, like in school, like not my uh, like not like my close friends, but a lot of people in school are like, bro, that's not gonna work. Like you're not gonna get it, bro. Like it's just not gonna work. Like it's a game. And I was like, nah, bro. I was like, there's a lot of heart in here. And sure enough, bro, like they called me personally and was like, yo, this is amazing. Like, how did you do this? And I was like, well, I was using a game called MTV Music Generator, and then I put it into a tape machine with the audio cords, and I just hit record. They're like, "This is genius," and they're like, "We want you in our program," and I was like, "Okay," and then boom, but then that didn't happen, and then boom, here we are. It's funny because I was just talking to a group in the NPC group, and they were talking about how like MTV Music Generator was trash back in the day, and I was like, no, that game was a freaking gem back in the day. That game was the reason why I learned that I really wanted to do music and make beats. You know, that was like the beginning for me. So yeah, like 100%, like that's crazy when you really think about it. And that's why I just tell people like do what you love. Do what you love and it will become your job, you know? Um and like do what makes you feel good and it'll become your job. That's why one day OG's gonna own his own gaming store eventually, hopefully, soon.
Well, we'll see. Because, like I said, right now I actually have a job that I like, so I'm not gonna, you know, quote that quite yet as something I'm going to do. But we'll see what the future holds. Like I said,
Yeah,
I've gained a lot of experience even in running, managing a store before, so I have a little bit of that under my belt too. And if
right.
it's meant to be, it'll work out. But if not, I'm still happy where I'm
Yeah,
at. But like I
definitely.
said, sometimes you just have to work a bunch of other jobs before you can get to where you need to get there.
Definitely. Definitely. Just like streaming on YouTube and in the beginning of Twitch has opened doors for me musically. You know what I mean? So that's pretty dope. And the fact that I can put them hand to hand together is just freaking sick. Just freaking sick. So, um, the only news I really have to talk about that's really like in my opinion worth talking about is more of a PSA, public service announcement on what's going on with Twitch. All the other stuff is that I have is just updates, and updates are like a dime a dozen. You know what I mean? There's not nothing really that is like sticking out as like, oh my god, this is an amazing update. Um, but the one thing I wanna stress on is right now the hackers have figured out how to take people's uh, payroll money from Twitch. And what I mean, for those that don't know, we were talking about last week's episode about how the hackers were releasing the no ban zone or the no ban list, and then they were also compromising accounts and doing all this other stuff, but they weren't really doing anything to harm the the streamer. Well, now as it comes to pass, now they are starting to take streamers payouts. And unfortunately, uh it's it's they're going through the two FNA, the two uh authentication thing or whatever it's called, right? But however, you think Twitch would be like, oh, don't worry, we got you. But Twitch is saying there's nothing we can do. So if these people take your money, and some of you people earn a lot of money on Twitch, if these people take your money, you are out of all your money for the month. And then your account is compromised, and they pretty much say that there's not really much that they can do to fix this situation right now. Thank you. So I would just suggest that if you're gonna stream on Twitch, and if you are a streamer on Twitch, I would just advise with caution to just make sure that you know keep double checking your account, keep checking things, keep doing whatever you can to protect yourself from the situation. Because I'm gonna tell you, and you'll be like, oh well, I'm a small streamer. They ain't nobody gonna worry about me. Those will probably be the ones that they go after the most because their voice is not technically gonna be heard as an individual, in my opinion. So you just want to be careful. That's like the big news that I want to talk about today. There's also another game that came out that I want to talk about later, but yeah, I just want to just stress enough. And I'll say this again, and I'm not saying this to poke fun at Twitch, but it seems that I left at just the right time because I wouldn't want to be dealing with that mess. So yeah, I just want to put that out there. Just be careful if you stream on Twitch, please, because some of y'all, this is like y'all's only income, and it would suck for you to lose that income, especially around the holidays, over something like that you can't prevent from happening. So just be careful. If you have to, change your password once a week. If you have to, change your password every day. I don't know, but just try to figure out a better way to protect yourself. Because right now, Twitch can't protect you. Twitch can't help you. They already issued a statement saying that there's nothing they can do. So, which is scary. It's very, very scary. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Your thoughts?
Well, just on the thing about passwords, it's typical practice to change your password every 30 days, just for any kind of business that you do, just to keep anyone from being able to just, get into what you have. So if you're curious as far as like how to protect yourself electronically, yeah, definitely change your password at least once a month, I'll say. And I don't know how I feel about, you know, subscribing to a VPN service. Those basically the services that make it look like you're somewhere else, kind of like Void VPN and a bunch of other companies. But I know there are a lot of companies out there that advertise being able to protect yourself, from outsiders getting your information and getting your location, things like that. So any kind of like VPN related services can help businesses do it all the time. Matter of fact, the company I work for actually has a VPN contract. So when I'm logging and I'm working, I'm protected by a VPN service. So that's another thing to consider when you're doing things online. And that's really like the best thing I can tell you, really. And if you notice anything connected with anything financial, like your card being compromised or anything, it's always best to get a new card number, like call your bank immediately. Like if you get a letter from a company you've done business with that says, hey, nothing's been done to you, but we do show that your information was compromised, with your card or whatever. Definitely call the bank immediately and just get a new card number. And, there you go.
Yeah, definitely. 100% agree. Yeah, I know VPNs are a little interesting. Um, because
I feel
they,
weird about it only
yeah.
because they may, protect you, but the problem is what are they doing? Are they selling your information?
Well,
So I don't know how that works.
not only that, but apparently VPNs are kind of looked weird upon in the gaming space because apparently you can use VPNs to manipulate the skill-based matchmaking and put yourself in certain lobbies. I didn't know this, but apparently that's that's you can do that as well. You can also prevent yourself from being stream hacked or not stream hacked, but stream sniped with VPNs as well in the middle of games. Again, I don't know how that works. I don't know how that works in the gaming space. I understand VPN. I understand how that works, but I just never understood how that like it manipulates the way you and what lobbies you're in. I can understand like regions if like you're saying that you're playing in Japan or something, but like I don't understand how I could do that like ge- geographically in the United States. It's just a little weird. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
um, my wife's job also and my sister's job also makes you sign into a VPN as well. So yeah, I totally aware. A lot of people use VPNs. This is another thing people use VPNs for. There's certain shows like in certain countries, like Netflix in like the UK is different from the Netflix we get in the United States. So a lot of people will like use a VPN to get the different Netflix to get the different shows. Like for instance, this is just something that I learned on YouTube randomly because you fall down random YouTube rabbit holes at times. Um, Friends is no longer being broadcast on Netflix in the United States, but Friends is being broadcast in the Netflix in the United Kingdom. So if you want to watch Friends without having to subscribe to another service, for to watch it on the other place, you just VPN it and bam, there you are. And it's not illegal because it's a VPN. So yeah, it's VPNs are just weird. They're just weird in general. But if you're comfortable with it, um, and you feel like that's the way to go, do it. There's actually some pretty cheap ones. You can get VPN protection for like $2 a month, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Um, so yeah, but yeah, definitely. What is your thoughts? And this is where I wanted to get in the meat and potatoes. What are your thoughts about Twitch saying like there's nothing we can do about it? Like we're not refunding your money, we're not paying you back, we're just not doing anything.
It's kind of the attitude they've had for a while with a lot of the issues they've had, kind of like with the whole music thing and them not being able to do anything about that and making you do all the work.
Hmm.
Like they're basically just saying, look, we're just here to host your platform. Everything else is on you. That's kind of the message that from what and I'm just an outsider looking in because I don't do a lot with Twitch myself, but as an outsider, that's what it looks like. It's just like, you know, just beware that if anything happens, it's on you, not on us. And it kind of sucks because if you're going to be hosting and allowing people on your platform, you should be able to put a little bit of work into at the very least protecting your people and protecting your assets. But
Hmm.
apparently, it's all on the user. It's all on you.
Okay. It's all your responsibility. And it's like in that case, you might as well have your own platform, in my opinion.
Or go to a
Sorry.
different one.
Yeah. Um, Speaking of which, we're gonna take a little side quest. If you guys are looking to where you wanna like, if you are in gaming streaming, not normal streaming, but gaming streaming, and you want to stream copyrighted free or copyrighted music, Facebook is now the place to be because Facebook is now offering their partners, Facebook partners, Facebook gaming partners, no copyright strikes on copyrighted music. They have struck a deal, and I have the article, and I've posted it on Facebook before, but this is just a good segue to enter into this. They've they've made a deal with the major music labels and the major music companies and the major music publishers that they pretty much see on it as marketing, and Facebook pays them a pretty good chunk. But this way, as the creator, you no longer have to worry about being copyrighted strike. This is huge. Um, I get it. I get questions about it. I get questions asked about it all the time. In fact, yesterday, um, I got asked about it, and I showed them the article. If that is the main bread and butter of your content, where you feel like the only way you can be successful as a streamer is if you play copyrighted music. Facebook, I'm not saying that's what people do, but a lot of times people like playing music that people know during their streams because that keeps them engaged. People like doing song requests. Don't get me wrong, I've did it. I've been down that road before. But if that's what you want to do as a streamer, Facebook is the way to go. Um, which I thought was interesting. So Facebook did something that like no other platform has done, which is crazy. Um, Mind you too, Facebook is also going to be supporting more of the metaverse, which is the new virtual space that'll be coming probably out more mainstream by the time we're in diapers and stuff. But they've invested in a lot. I think that has a lot to do with it because I feel like this is where we're going to have um, concerts and stuff like that. Because also Facebook is eventually changing their name to help more support the metaverse that is coming. Um, Facebook is invested in a lot in the metaverse. If you didn't remember before, this is why Facebook bought um, Oculus Rift. Remember one of the first VR headset companies and stuff like that. Remember when we were talking about that on the podcast a while back, long time ago. We're like, why did Facebook buy Oculus Rift? Why is Facebook investing in VR? It's because they're investing in the new internet space, which is going to be the metaverse, and which is also going to be Web 3 as well. So yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see. But and I segue into two different spots there. But so if you're looking um to be in a spot where you can want to play copyrighted free music, I mean copyrighted music. I say copyrighted free, but copyrighted music. Go to Facebook. It's not hard to get partnered over at Facebook. Facebook is probably the one of the most easiest platforms to get partnered on. However, it comes with a drawback because not everybody can watch you on Facebook, and not everybody wants to watch um, gaming on Facebook. Mostly, people that watch Facebook are watching you from your phones, and so the hour watch time is just not how it is, how normally it would be on YouTube, and what makes that different is because YouTube is easily watched everywhere. However, Facebook isn't. So that's the drawback you have. But yeah, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I didn't know if you knew that about Facebook. If you knew Facebook released that.
Yeah, I kind of knew a little bit about that off and on. I haven't paid a lot of attention to Facebook just because I've been kind of staying detached from Facebook for the most part. But I do know that behind the scenes they've been doing a lot, and there's a lot of people who don't like being on Facebook, and I'm becoming one of them. That's why VR for them hasn't been successful because most people don't want to have a Facebook account to play VR. So that's why that wasn't super popular. With VR being niche as it is,
Right.
and even with the whole metaverse thing, I'm pretty sure that other companies are also aware of what's going on, and they're also going to be on that bandwagon getting some virtual space.
Yes.
So it's going to be kind of a battle, and I think that Facebook at least has their foot in the door, but I'm sure they're not the only ones.
Oh no, for sure. There you can actually well I showed you that video about like what's going on with the metaverse. And then now there's this guy who made this whole character of himself. And I found him on TikTok and his name is Blue. And he's actually doing weekly episodes of like the metaverse and stuff. And he's able to capture it and he puts it on YouTube. And he's the only right now. He's the only one doing it, because right now to be a part of the metaverse, you have to you have to build like okay, so to have your body fully immersed, like where your face is being recognized, your body's being recognized, like your full body's being recognized, you have to build the suit yourself. It's not just as easy as putting on a VR headset and then boom, I'm in. We're not we're not there yet. A lot of the technology, like this dude's having to use AR, which is um artificial or animated reality or whatever. I forget what AR is. Or augmented reality. There you go. Like the stuff that you get from Snapchat and stuff. Um he's using that. He's using some kind of special suit, and then he's using some kind of special controller like gloves, and then he's using some kind of what is it? Oh, then he's using some like regular VR headset. So like right now people are having to like build it themselves. But he's like one of the first ones to put it together and actually make a production from it, which is pretty freaking cool. I've been watching I've been watching only because I'm curious. Um I'm being curious like where this is going, where this is, because I'm a content creator, right? So I'm curious. So if you want to check it out, his name is Blue. I don't have the link to his YouTube as of yet, but I will have it probably by next week. If you guys just want to like, is to watch it yourselves and just kind of, it'd be something to like to talk about. Oh, like, oh, did you see what they did in the metaverse this week or whatever? So yeah, that's pretty cool. Um, I it's kind of weird though. It's like I feel like people are gonna be more investing in like, because remember that video I showed you last week after the podcast? Because legitimately, after I was talking about the metaverse last week, legitimately there was a video that popped up about it. I feel like people are gonna be buying more virtual real estate than actual real estate, which is kind of weird. But I don't know. I don't know. It's gonna be kind of weird. It's gonna be kind of weird how that's going to reflect as like real life assets too. Like I wonder if you're gonna be like if your metaverse account is gonna make you more valuable on actual in real life. You know what I mean? Because they're considered investments. Because they're considered like cryptocurrency, which is really pretty freaking crazy. So say like if I own this car in 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 the metro in the metaverse, is it going to make me a more valuable person in IRL because technically it's a cryptocurrency and it's an NFT? It's going to be pretty interesting. Pretty interesting to see. Yeah. It's almost scary because it's almost like a new version of the stock market, but you can actually, instead of it just being like an electronic note, you can actually like be immersed in your stock. Like meaning like you can touch it. Like you can't really touch it, but you can pretty much play with it, I guess you could say. It's pretty much a toy. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that turns out in the next 10 years or so. Give it 10 years, I say. And we'll see how that is.
Yeah, we'll see. Also, just to kind of, I need to make an update to something we discussed last week that something I didn't know about just because I hadn't watched the presentation. But last week we talked about the whole you know Switch having the 64 and Sega stuff with the expansion and all that for another $50.
Mhm.
There was something else that I didn't know that I didn't find out until afterwards. There was a Nintendo Direct specifically for Animal Crossing.
Interesting.
And it's kind of a big deal. Very, very popular. They
Yes.
have two big updates. They have a free update and they have a paid update. Now, you have the option to pay for this update if you want to get, whatever the valuable stuff. I'm not going to go into the whole details, but the point I want to make is that apparently what I didn't know is that if you actually buy the whole N64 Sega deal for the extra $50, you get the paid Animal Crossing stuff for free. So if you get that, that kind of adds value to the whole new expansion that Nintendo's doing. And then the question was asked, well, what if I do this deal, but I, cancel within a couple of months? Do I lose my Animal Crossing stuff? And basically, anything that any of the items and products that you get, you still get to keep. Actually, I think there's only like one thing you miss out on. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but basically, you still get to keep almost everything you get when it comes to that, even if you cancel like a few months later. Basically, they just want to make sure that at the very least you signed up for the new expansion, and as a bonus, you get the paid stuff for Animal Crossing with that package, which kind of ups the value if you're an Animal Crossing player.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I still don't understand why people are saying that the expansion is gonna cost too much. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Unless
They
I,
think
and the only thing I can think of is that the Nintendo Switch is not their main driver, and they're already paying $50 a year for Xbox, and they're paying $50 a year for PlayStation. That's
And
all.
that's what it is. They're since the Switch is kind of like their side piece, if you will. They're not really wanting to invest too much money in their side piece, if you will. And
Okay.
that's really what it boils down to. Yeah, but anyone who, if you're like a primary Nintendo type player, this is not a big deal for you because this is your primary thing. But for anyone that's kind of like secondary, who's more into like, the Game Pass for Microsoft or whatever, yeah, this is probably not for you. This is the whole expansion is for a very specific audience that's willing to pay for it.
For the Nintendo lover.
Yeah. So if
Anybody
you
that
love Nintendo
yeah,
as like your main thing or close to your main thing, then you're gonna pay that $50. I mean,
exactly, exactly. Now, before anybody be like, well, why is there a paid update? When do we have to start paying for updates? I'll give you an example. WoW. Each time WoW comes up with a new expansion, you have to pay $30 for that expansion. It's an MMO. So I don't want nobody here to be like, oh, Nintendo's just being weird, making us pay for certain updates. No, it's a thing. So please don't sit there and be like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Um, because trust me, they do. There are. It's just in different ways. They're just called expansions. They're not. They're not. What you call it? They're not updates. Now, however, I don't know. I don't know what all comes in this update. I'm guessing in this paid update. I'm guessing it's a lot. I'm guessing, right? Can we at least?
from the podcasts that I've listened to, they do say it's a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so it is a lot. Okay,
Yeah. Like I said, it's a pretty big deal.
okay, okay. So it's not
If
something.
you're big, if you're a big Animal Crossing fan, you're gonna love the update. This might not convince you to get the expansion because if you're just an Animal Crossing lover, you're probably just gonna do the Animal Crossing thing. But if you like the Switch and you like old school Nintendo, this
Yeah.
expansion pack is going to be like the best thing for you, especially if you also happen to like Animal Crossing as well. And since we happen to have Animal Crossing because my girlfriend plays it, there you go.
Oh, nice. I that's right. I forgot she got Animal Crossing. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
weird.
that's
I wish Animal Crossing was on the PC. Only because that's the kind of game. Not saying that. Um. Not saying that like it's not good on a Nintendo. But to me personally, that's not a game I'd want to play handheld. That's a game I'd want to be sitting in front of my computer and just like taking hours of my life away. Because I've actually been in I've actually been call it I've actually been intrigued with Animal Crossing, but I don't play my Switch enough. And I don't have any of my consoles set up to where I can play them. So the only thing I have set up is my uh what you call it, my PC. I don't have none of my consoles even set up in the office to even play them. That's on me, but I mean that's just a lot more work right now, and I'd have to set up a TV, and it's just not something I wish to do at the moment. But yeah, I think if not saying that it needs to come on PC, not advocating for that, not saying it needs that because I like that Nintendo has their own things. But I'm saying if it was on PC, I'd be playing the crap out of Animal Crossing right now. Just saying. Just putting that definitely.
100%. Like I don't play it myself, but the lady loves it, and I say have at it.
To me it's almost like an MMO. It's
Yeah, it's
almost
kind of like your own like adventure. Like you're building your garden up and your home and little items and stuff. Like it's kind of like that relaxing, fun thing that can take you away from all the craziness in the world and all the violence you see everywhere else. It's kind of that thing. It's kind of like a palate cleanser. Like when
yeah,
life is just this place of Animal Crossing. Like that's kind of what it's become.
yeah,
It's
pretty
everybody's peace.
yeah, pretty much. My question is to you, did um hold on. Did has she shared her has she shared has she shared her world with anybody, or does she just play it by herself?
I haven't asked, but I think for the moment she's probably played by herself.
Okay.
But I have to actually ask. I have no idea.
I'm just curious. That's all. That's all.
Yeah, that I don't know.
I just want to say shout outs to everybody that's like actually listening to the podcast. I was actually looking at the stats of our other episodes. Um, because now Anchor has a thing where you can ask questions like on your Spotify account for the podcast, and I'm just was looking at all the views. So shout outs to all you guys that are actually listening and like hitting the like button. Thank and especially all you people over at Apple. Apparently, that's where we get most of our views from. Is from um,
Wow.
Apple. Yes. So.
Okay, I'll take
I'll take
it.
it. So, I mean, I'm just looking at the analytics right now on accident. I wasn't trying to. I was trying to see if there was any questions or if any comments that we could have talked about on the show for the last episode because that's when they started implementing that. And so I asked some questions on the Spotify. Nobody questioned on Spotify, and nobody voted on Spotify. So Spotify people get involved, please, thanks. Um, yeah, so that's pretty interesting though. Um, I don't. Yeah, I think paying for updates is okay too, as long as they also if it's worth it, and as long as they offer a like free version of it. Maybe not like the same version, but it's kind of like watered down. Maybe you don't play Animal Crossing enough. I think that's okay. I think that's
Yeah, like
100%.
the fact that you can still get an update for free is still pretty cool. So it still gives you something to do if you like the game. But if you're someone that's really into the game and you want to get everything and all the big stuff, you'll pay the little extra amount. I'm not sure how much it is for it by itself, but I'm sure that if you're a big Animal Crossing fan, you're going to pay for that
Yeah,
and be
definitely.
okay with it.
Definitely. Here's a fun stat check. I just want to put this out here. So, 16% of our audience listens from the Apple Podcast. Another 13,
All
another 13% listens from Anchor. 8% listens from Stitcher. 5% listens from Spotify, and there's a other that I don't know what other is because there's just other. The other is 58%, which is pretty freaking crazy. I don't
I wonder
know.
what that
I don't know what that
is.
is, but yeah. Thank you, other platform, whatever you may be. Thank you, much appreciated. I just thought that was funny. That's why I brought it up. I was like, 58% other. Um, that's pretty interesting. So yeah, definitely. Um, that's pretty crazy though. Um, the update or the game that I want to talk about is in closed beta right now. It's called Free Cycle. Free Cycle is um your Survivor PvP PvE. And when I'm talking about Survivor, I'm not talking about the show Survivor where you're like trying to be the last one on the island. I'm talking about a game where you go and you loot and you try to loot and get these and you battle these PvE situations. And basically, um, when you do that, you'll find all this stuff and stuff like that. But if you, but you can come across uh, PvP people. There's no PvP turn off. There's no PvP turn on. But if you die, the crazy thing about these kind of games, this is not the only game like this. There's another game it's similar to like this that a lot of people can compare it to. It's called Escape from Tarkov. But if you die in this game, you lose all your gear and you start back from zero. So basically, when you are doing your exhibitions, your explorations, you don't want to take everything with you at once. You just want to take the stuff that you need, just in case if you die, you don't lose everything. Sometimes you don't want to take the best gear, or sometimes, there's a lot of good risk and reward with these kind of games. Um, I've been wanting to play a game like this. Uh, what makes this game different from Tarkov is uh, it's a little bit more simpler. It's not as complex as Tarkov, so it's like the good what is it? The good entry level to getting into survivor um, survival based kind of games. Also, it's a very good looking game to look at. Um, I said it like this. It reminds me of No Man's Sky because it's in space, right? It reminds me of No Man's Sky with PvP element to it, to where like you're exploring, you're doing these missions, except it's not as big as No Man's Sky because it's actually levels. It's not like you're just like uh going around in space and just landing in
You're not
certain
just
spot.
exploring,
Right,
basically.
right,
You're in
right.
a more confined area trying to survive. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And you're like doing certain missions and then you're leaving. Um, but I say that it's like Turkov and No Man's Sky had a baby. And the cool thing about this is that I think that they're doing. I've requested to be in the beta. They have not accepted my request. If you guys are listening to this, please let me in because I'm uh, very appealed to your game. Who knows? You might be part of that 58% of that other. Who knows? Um, it reminds me of if No Man's Sky and Tarkov had a baby, and the beautiful thing about this game is you ready for this? They're thinking about bringing it to console, um, and it's going to be like cross-platform. So you're gonna have like, so it's like everybody's gonna be able to play it. And here's the best part. Here's the best part. Are you ready? You ready? You ready? You ready?
Hmm.
It's free to play.
Oh, pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Free to play. Um, so I think this game is gonna be really cool. I don't think it's gonna be better than Tarkov because Tarkov is for a certain audience and more in depth, but it's for those that are just like wanting to do that kind of game without it being so crazy. If you want to see,
Kind of like a casual version. Yeah.
yeah. So if you want to see gameplay of it, there's a streamer that streams it almost every day now. He likes it over New World. He plays it every day. Which is Dr. Lupo. He's told me straight up. He's like Handikillcam. This is like my favorite game. I love this game. And I'm not gonna lie. Um, I was like, whoa. I was like, this game's pretty freaking cool. And it now, mind you, it's also one of those games that where it was supposed to be a BR. Now this is funny. This is funny. This is hilarious. This is the funniest story behind this game. So it was originally supposed to be a battle royale game, right? But it failed out the gate. So they took it down and they redid the game, redid the foundation, and now made it this survival kind of PvP, PvE kind of game. And now everybody's loving it.
They made the right call. Good
Now,
job.
now, 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 now this is the funny thing, okay? Because normally you look at a game like Fortnite, and you look like other games. You look at like Fortnite. BR is what saved Fortnite. You gotta remember, because Fortnite,
It needs to be save the world thing. Yeah.
yeah, it was save the world, right? Nobody was playing that. Now, now, um, and BR saved it. Now BR is not saving games. So I think it's funny, or I think it's interesting how we're like shifting in games now. If you know what I mean, like there's a shift. And I was reading an article the other day, and they said, is this the era of the MMO or the like one player or like the explore what is it called? Exploitation or adventurous type games. Because now right now those are the games that are kicking because like everybody's played, you know, BR and whatever. So I just thought that to be interesting. But yeah, I 100% say if you want to go ahead and check this game out, um, if you can. Right now you have to request for access. It's not coming out until 2022. So we still have a long time to go. I'm checking my Steam account every day for request access. And if we do, I'm gonna be bringing it to the channel. And we'll be doing some YouTube streams on it. So just be on the lookout. But yeah, definitely fun. And which is really and why I think it's cool that it's gonna be on console is that most likely it'll have full controller support, which is dope because I'm tired of having to do um, reach arounds and fancy stuff to uh, to so I can use my controller on certain games. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to see what this game turns into for sure, for
Looks
sure.
like it sounds like it has a lot of potential.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Um,
there's only one other thing I'm going to bring up for the day, but it is more in the rumor mill. So there's nothing to say 100% sure how this is going to turn out and if it's going to happen. But I first heard this from Maximilian, dude, and I also did some research to see if there are any sites to confirm this. But basically, there is a small chance that there might be a Killer Instinct game in development.
don't play with
So
my heart. Don't play with my heart, bro. Don't play with
I
my heart.
know, I know. Like, so Killer Instinct has a big history. You know, it started with Nintendo, with for Super Nintendo. Then they had a 64 one, but with Killer Instinct Gold. Obviously, it was an arcade for a long time, which is where I first experienced the game, and I think it's a fantastic fighting game. In all honesty, I think it got overshadowed by like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, but Killer Instinct has some really good stuff. What's kept it alive? Was a few things that's kept it alive, and the article actually brought it up. Um, it stated that in 2017, so I'm guessing was the last time they made a game. Uh, it was praised for having the best, or arguably the best online netcode, meaning that
This
you
is
could
true.
actually have a good experience playing online.
This is
Because there's a
true.
lot of fighting games out there that are crappy online. I'm not just talking about the Nintendo Switch. I'm talking across the board for any
Yes.
kind of social related fighting games. A lot of them have terrible online. But Killer Instinct was one of those games for Xbox that actually had fantastic online play to where like it was rare if you were actually dropping frames. Like it was so smooth. So anyway, the article also mentioned that Maximilian did a big rally to kind of keep it alive, just like how he did with Marvel vs. Capcom 2. They had like a big tournament, a lot of popular people got into it, and they had a successful event with Twitch. Like they had like I forgot what they call it, like a Twitch plays or some kind of Twitch
Twitch
like tournament.
rivals. Twitch rivals. Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. So they did that for Killer Instinct, and it was a big deal. It was very successful.
Mm-hmm.
There was some interviews that have been done with like Phil Spencer, who's like the big guy for Xbox, and there was a podcast that kind of was like talking about Killer Instinct and how popular it is, and he had basically stated that yeah, we see that it's super popular. I don't have any information that I can give you. It's not something that we forgot about. We just don't have the right team for it right now. So that was kind of like the last that we heard. And this recent article said that there was a guy who found out. I'm not sure how he found out, but basically, it's confirmed that a new Killer Instinct game is in the making, but he doesn't know who's developing the game. The only thing that he knows is that it's not any of the recent creators of the game because all the other developers are tied into other games. So NetherRealm has a lot that they're working on, and there's another one that was connected with it that's already like confirmed that they're not doing Killer Instinct. Uh, so we don't know at all which developer it could be taking it on, but it's kind of raised some eyebrows. Like, okay, well, if it's not the people that recently did Killer Instinct the last time, is this going to be that good? Because how do you top a fighting game that basically did better than just about everything else in terms of online, who has, a good set of stable characters and everything. Like, how, can you trust another studio to take what's there and make it better, or are they going to completely change it and make it worse? So it's kind of one of those things where some people hope it's not true because they want to keep their, good game and they don't want it to get ruined. And others are kind of like, well, we'd like to see a new Killer Instinct because it's not getting any as much attention anymore.
Okay, I'm gonna give an unpopular opinion. Okay.
Okay.
Um, so even though that the gameplay was smooth, um, like 100%, I was not a fan of the Xbox version of Killer Instinct at all. Period. Um,
What was it? What was it?
it was just the character models. It was the way that the game looked. I didn't,
Okay.
I didn't like the way how the game looked. The game felt great, and then on top of that too, all the characters were behind a paywall. Like you couldn't just buy the game and have all the characters. You had to like buy them individually, and then like this weird this weird season thing. Like it's not how like season passes are now. It was just like this weird season thing that it just didn't work. It didn't work. But like I just didn't like how the game looked. Like the characters looked way like oversized. I don't know how to explain it. It just didn't look right to me. Like the game just didn't look appealing. Um like it didn't I don't know. It just like you know how like even though I suck at Dragon Ball Z Fighters, that game looks amazing,
Mhm.
right? That
Yeah.
game when you look at that game makes you want to play that game. Okay? I'm good at Killer Instinct, but looking at that game makes me not want to play that game. Not because of lag, just the way that the game like appealing look. So I'm as long as they keep the good net code because I'm a big fan of good net code. Even like the best first person shooters don't like your online first person shooters, Call of Duty, Apex, all these games they all have been unmasked as having horrible netcode. You know, there's a guy that specifically has a YouTube channel, and that's all he does is he looks at the netcode of online games, and I believe he did a a video on Killer Instinct on how the netcode is really good for Killer Instinct for the Xbox. Um, so yeah, like I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of how the game looked. So as long as they keep the the netcode, I'm happy that it's getting new developers because I wasn't excited on how the game was developed itself. Um, I feel like that's why the game got overshadowed because even though Street Fighter wasn't that great, it looks better than Killer Instinct in my opinion. Um, even though, Mortal Kombat's always going to be top because it's Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat does not win because of skill. Mortal Kombat wins because of gore. So that's no question.
More in story because
Yeah,
lately they've been putting a big emphasis on story.
right, right. So I can't even say anything about Mortal Kombat, right? But as far as like Street Fighter goes, the only reason why is because the game just looks better side by side as far as like appealing to the eye. Um, Dragon Ball Z, of course, Dragon Ball Z's got like one of the most immersive fighting games. What I mean is like you don't even realize you're playing a game. Like when I watch Dragon Ball Z Fighters, even though I didn't watch a lot of Dragon Ball Z, and I still don't, but when I do watch Dragon Ball Z Fighters, I feel like I'm watching an episode of Dragon Ball Z and I just fast forwarded to the fighting part. That's freaking dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what Dragon Ball Z Fighters is to me. So even though I don't play Dragon Ball Z Fighters, even though I don't own Dragon Ball Z Fighters, guess what? If Dragon Ball Z Fighters is on like a tournament or whatever, guess what? I'm watching it. You know what I mean? and that's just my biggest complaint about the killer the new the recent Killer Instinct Gold or killer or not Gold, I forget what it's called, but the recent Killer Instinct is it's just not appealing to the eye. But to be fair, it was one of the first games made on the Xbox One. So, it was one of the games that pulled the Xbox One. It was one of the games that they featured the the clip recording, all the uh, all the special features that the Xbox One had. This is where they showcased all those features was on the Killer Instinct game. The Killer Instinct game was supposed to be what catapulted people into getting people into the Xbox One. It's probably why they made the net coding so good, and they worked on it so good because that was like, to be honest with you, that was one of the Xbox flagship games for
They
the
really put fighting games on the map for Xbox with Killer Instinct, in my opinion.
yeah
I think that's really what set them apart.
yeah
Because there were other fighting games that were exclusive to Xbox, so they weren't really so popular. Like they had SVC Chaos, which is basically one of those like SNK versus Street Fighter type things. It looks different. It's it was a decent fighting game, but it didn't really appeal to a large audience, which is why a lot of people don't even know what SVC Chaos is.
right
The only reason I because I was big into fighting games and I had a friend who had me try playing on arcade sticks so we can go to tournaments and stuff. But outside of that scenario, people don't know what that is. So,
yeah
but with think like for Xbox people, they're like, wow, this game seems pretty cool, and they got to play it. Now, as far as visuals, I kind of agree. Visually, it doesn't really appeal to me either. I'm just a Killer Instinct fan in general, which is why I respect the game. And I
right
think Microsoft made a good move by buying Rare because Rare was a big deal in the '90s. That was a huge company.
no
I mean,
definitely
that's what it started from, if I'm not
yeah
mistaken. I think that was
yeah
the game,
that's
and
what
that's why you're still coming
yeah
up.
that's where Perfect Dark started from, and that's also where I believe GoldenEye started from. Correct?
GoldenEye, I'm not sure. I'll double check real quick. But yeah, I know that like Nintendo had Rare and it had a bunch of fantastic games like Perfect Dark and yeah, I think it might have been GoldenEye too. I'll look right now. But that
Yeah.
wouldn't make sense since I do have GoldenEye related levels in it.
Right.
But yeah, like Microsoft did a good job with that purchase because they buy a lot of systems normally, but
Right.
I'm just looking right now.
Right.
GoldenEye N64. See what we got here. But I think you're right. I think it is Rare.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep, it is developed by
Yeah.
Rare
Yeah. And
and Ultimate
yeah,
games. But yeah,
and not that, but this is just another good game. This is not a first person shooter or a fighter, but they also made Donkey Kong.
yep. Donkey
Donkey Kong,
Kong.
like Rare made all the good games. And they also made, I believe they made Banjo-Kazooie, um which is another good game.
Yep.
Rare makes good games. I just wish they would continue to make great games for Xbox or whatever. You know what I mean? Because I want Xbox to do good because hey, the Xbox Game Pass is amazing. Like, for real. I'm actually thinking about buying it for my PC. Um,
Yeah, because you can do it on PC. You don't have to have an Xbox.
r-
That's what makes Microsoft successful right now. Is the fact that they just have a large ecosystem and they actually have the best subscription bargain of all the consoles.
yes, 100%. 100%. 100%. If you don't ever want to buy a game and you just can't afford games, guess what? Get you a Game Pass. You'll be fine.
If and a PC or Game Pass and an Xbox, either one. I mean,
Yeah.
PCs that usually
You don't
recommend it,
you
right?
don't
But
even you don't even need that. Remember, you can use your phone.
yeah, you can use your phone. That's right. I forgot.
You
Phone or
can use your
tablet.
you can use your phone and hook up an Xbox controller to the phone or the tablet, and boom, you have yourself a portable Xbox.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
funny thing is like that works. It works. It's not that it's a gimmick like Stadia. It works. It works. It like legitly works. You know. And
Um,
honestly, I feel like that's what killed Stadia.
yeah.
It's sad that like no Google, you're awesome. Don't get me wrong, but a company that's not even as big as you destroyed you your idea and like literally like did it like way better than they could have. But it goes back to what we originally talked about in the beginning of the podcast. It didn't matter how much money you have, didn't matter how many smart people you have on your team, didn't matter how many degrees you had. What makes Microsoft better at that than Google is that Microsoft has more experience in the gaming space and understands gaming more hands-on than Google ever has and ever will.
Yep.
And that, that just basically brings the podcast full circle. Like that's prime example right there. That's why Stadia got beat because they just got a bunch of smart people instead of getting people that actually
Have
knew
experience.
experience with gaming like, yo, this isn't gonna work, bro. It looks like it'll work on paper, but once you show the live demo, it's gonna poop out. And you know, but you got Phil Spencer, you got all these people over at Microsoft that like know and live and eat and breathe gaming. You know what I mean? They're not just trying to make a dollar off of it because they see that gaming is like a big industry. You know what I mean? And that's where Google was and that's where Google was in my opinion when it came to the Stadia. They just saw a space for the piece of the pie and they're like, yo, it's our turn. Let's make a gaming console. But let's not hire anybody that knows anything about gaming consoles. Like, think about it. They could have hired somebody like from Sega or something, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but they didn't, you know.
Yeah.
We still don't know any word on I need to like do some research, but I'm curious on I'm curious about um what's that Loba Luba
Mhm.
Luna, there you go. Luna. I'm curious about the Amazon progress.
I've heard that they've been struggling too.
Okay.
I don't remember all the details, but I know that the few times, I think the only people I hear Luda being talked about is from Inside Gaming, and that's
Okay.
pretty much it. And even they're like, they're trying stuff, but it's not successful yet.
Okay. Okay. I was just curious cuz I haven't
They got a long way to go too. Like right now, it's strictly Microsoft that's winning. As far as in the gaming subscription space, they're winning by a landslide. Like, yeah, Nintendo has its thing, but that's only for a small part of the pie. I think Microsoft has the biggest piece of the gaming subscription pie. And
no, for
PlayStation,
sure.
they're kind of at the bottom, even compared to Nintendo, because the PlayStation services don't really have anything appealing at all. Like PlayStation Now is just not appealing. What I mean, to a
Yeah,
lot of people.
it's kind of
They're
like
always trying to catch up to Microsoft.
well, you know what PlayStation service reminded me of? Streaming service reminded
Mm-hmm.
me of. You have all these people that listen to music, right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
The modern music is what's in, what majority of people listen to, right? That's your Xbox, right? Because they're always dropping hits. Like they're dropping their biggest titles on the Game Pass, right? And
Yeah.
then you got Nintendo or then you got Xbox. I mean, PlayStation, my bad. You got PlayStation. PlayStation is only for a certain type of audience, and that's the audience that loves the oldies. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're looking for games that you used to play on PlayStation, that the servers are no longer up, and you just want to play, and you just want to play games that just remind from your childhood, hey, guess what? PlayStation is the way to go. I mean, PlayStation.
Well, here's the thing. Nintendo is the one that also plays oldies, but they're more successful. They play the good oldies.
Oh, okay, yeah,
They
okay.
play
They
like good rock and roll. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's true. And they're not scratched and they don't skip. because from what your experience with the PlayStation now, you're having issues back in the day. I remember you talk about that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I definitely am seeing some lag in my day, and I'm not saying that the Switch Online is necessarily the best, but
Mm,
in my experience, with the little bit that I've done, I feel more confident, believe it or not, in the Switch
yeah,
Online than PlayStation.
that's actually wow, wow. That's saying a lot. Because
Yeah.
I actually hate playing the Switch online a lot of the times. Unless I'm playing like
Well,
Mario Kart. Mario Kart's okay.
it depends on what you're playing, is what I found out. But the
Yeah.
problem is, even with PlayStation Now, it didn't matter what I was playing. I was still experiencing lag, and I don't have like bottom of the budget internet. I have top of the line internet, so it's
Yeah.
not like you know what I mean? It's just
Right.
that with PlayStation, their PlayStation, at least with PlayStation Now specifically, just for whatever reason, it's just difficult to stream games. You're always getting hiccups here and there, and I don't like it. And it's sad because Nintendo is not known for having good online, and even some of their games run really well. Some of them. So you would think that PlayStation would have more games that would run better than others, but it's kind of awkward no matter what you're playing. It's weird.
Not only that, but PlayStation has been like doing online gaming since the beginning of online gaming. Like,
Right, and Nintendo was late to the party because they have their own way of doing it, which is successful.
right,
But they're not worried about having good online, and it shows.
right. And yeah, and PlayStation was like the worst playing Madden online, remember? Oh my god. I'll never forget that, bro. I will never forget that. That's when sports games changed for me. I wasn't into sports games much during those times.
Yeah, I
I,
remember there was someone else that wanted to also play Madden online with me, someone I used to work with, and even our games, were just terrible. I'm just like, there's no reason that no one should have caught the ball. Heck, there should have even been at least an interception, but because it skipped, it was just like nobody was there. It was
the grass, bro, the grass.
oh, that grass looked pretty though.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. Well,
But that's all
um,
I,
yeah,
I'm gonna kind of chill for the rest.
yeah, that's all I got for this episode. You can go
Very
ahead
good.
and take us out.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the OG podcast. We are live on Saturdays. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Saturdays on YouTube, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. So if you want to check us out live on YouTube, feel free to go to Handikillcam's channel and be a part of the conversation. And we appreciate those of you who just like to listen and lurk, because trust me, I'm always listening and lurking on other podcasts too. So I feel you. No problem with that. It's always good just to have people watching. So we appreciate you taking your time out to check us out. Keep in mind that Handikillcam is strictly on YouTube for his content. So if you want to see any of his music, which is what I hype the most, and some of his gameplay, be sure to support his channel and kind of show him some love. And of course, on Thursdays, that's the one day he does do Twitch for able gamers. Shout outs to them for doing great things for helping people with challenges be able to play better like everyone else. It's a
Nice.
great, great, great thing. And then, of course, if you want to check me out, Big MCC, I am also on YouTube specifically for Shadowverse and Last Claudius. So if you're interested in any of those two games, feel free to check my channel out. And that's going to be it for us. So until we meet again, keep gaming and take care, everyone.
Take care. Laters.